If you find yourself with a camera in your hand and want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment below. Hey Photos family, today we're talking about what should you set your shutter speed to. A good a good rule of thumb is to start with whatever your focal length is. Your lens is set to, say, 35 millimeters. Double that, multiply that by 2. 35 times 2 is 70. So then you have your shutter speed is between 1/60th of a second, 1/80th of a second, somewhere around there is a good starting point. If you need to slow your motion down so that the motion appears stopped, then you're going to want to go faster and make sure that you have enough light for that. If you need to create a little bit more motion blur, then you're going to want to slow that shutter speed down. But the important key to all of this is that your ISO and your aperture are set properly. Once your ISO is set, which is generally how a lot of people change the exposure, let's say it that way, whether it's dark or bright, the darker it is, the higher contrast it has. So then the brighter light you're going to need to expose properly, and that lower ISO rating is down to the 100 level, or if you stop it down even further, it can be 50. But that usually is opening up the incremental stops of the ISO rating and contrast options that you have within your camera. The important part is that you get your ISO set properly so that you do have enough contrast and not everything is just flat and appears to have no dimensionality to it. Your aperture sets how much is in focus. So the lower f-stop rating that you have, such as f-stop 2 or any lower like 1.4, then you're going to have a very narrow amount of space, a plane in your photograph that is in focus. And a lot faster from that plane is going to go blurry. If you want a very blurred background to where it's kind of what some people would say a milky soft blurred background, you're going to want a very low f-stop number, something around f-stop 4 at probably the highest to 2.4, 1.4, and that would give you a very quick out of focus move from what is in focus in your focal plane to what is not in focus. And then lastly, because we're talking mainly about shutter speed here, the good rule of thumb is to keep in mind how your lens is set. Are you using a zoom, which gives you the capability of zooming further in, and so you're somewhere, instead of 35 millimeters, you're at 85 millimeters or 100, then you're going to want to use that rule of thumb that your shutter speed should be about twice the value of what your focal length is. So if you're using a 100 millimeter lens, you're going to want to use somewhere in the range of 1/200th of a second for your shutter speed. We appreciate all the comments that you give to us. If you have found value in this content, we would appreciate a thumbs up so that other people can see this content. If you're not yet a subscriber, we would love to have your subscription. Thank you so much. God bless.